Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Falani and I'm with Asukwa James.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Indeed, good morning, Asukwa. Well, the Zamfara State Governor was in State House yesterday in Abuja.
I think 2 days ago.
Well, sorry, yeah, 2 days ago. It's about gold and guns.
Yes.
You know, first of all, there's gold in Kaduna, in Zamfara. We had the Minister of Mineral Resources, Minister of State for Mineral Resources, tell us about that. I think this was something about a week ago. And well, I think in addition to a sort of bullion bar that he was showing the president, there was another very much more important, well, I wouldn't say much more, but very important aspect to it, because the governor had an idea about the proliferation of arms in his state, and he was there to present his findings to the president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, Zamfara happens to be one of, if not one of the biggest states in Nigeria that has a huge amount of gold.
Deposit.
And yeah, deposit of gold. And not only gold, they have other precious stones there. And looking at why the conflict has been in Zamfara for a very long time, so many people, including politicians and some locals, have been making a huge amount of money from these deposits.
The illegal mining of it?
Yes, of it.
Okay.
And there was a time that even we had this lead poisoning, and this lead poisoning was as a result of, you know, illegal mining, you know. So
because lead is an important part in the mining of
exactly.
extracting of gold.
Yes, exactly. So what the government or governor actually did this time was to see how it can tackle the major problem of insecurity in Zamfara. And the major one was illegal mining. So what he did was, instead of, he knew from their own investigation, he knew that most of those bandits and most of the people who have been causing insecurity was because of the gold deposit in Zamfara.
Okay, when you say bandits, do you mean as well, are they bandits and illegal miners, or are they bandits separately, then illegal miners separately? Or
it's a combination of all.
Do illegal miners become bandits because
they need to also control their own territory?
And they also have the wherewithal. They have the
yes, because this is how it happens. Why the governor was saying that foreigners are the ones. So foreigners know that there's gold in Zamfara. So for them to get a portion for them to mine, they need to also give those bandits to secure their mines.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
You understand?
So it's not so much the illegal miners themselves.
Not the illegal miners. So,
okay.
So in securing their mines, they too themselves are also secured because they are foreigners. And that is why the government is now trying to see how they can, you know, legalize mining in Zamfara.
Okay.
You know.
It's not, or is it also a part of it that illegal miners reportedly are also being paid in part in small arms? Some form of arms.
Some form of arms, so that they'll be able to keep their own portion. You know, and they will keep mining and keep mining. So what the governor has done is something laudable, because now the governor is saying, okay, fine, if you want to mine, we are not saying you shouldn't mine, but don't give us guns. Don't give our people guns, you know, for you to mine. So regularize it. Okay. So instead of you mining using guns, we will buy
selling to those illegal miners.
We will buy from you.
Okay.
You know,
which wasn't the case before.
Yes, we will buy from you so that you don't get guns. Rather, you get either money or you get any other, service. You know, which I think it makes a lot of sense.
In fact, we have a report, a sound on tape report. On that matter that our reporter had prepared. Let's see if we can get hold of that.
Zamfara State was blessed by so many mineral resources, and some people from outside the country used to come to the state and buy gold and other precious stones and go back to it. And sometimes, instead to pay people, they normally pay back with some arms. So I make my investigation, which make me to make the state government to make sure that we'll be buying some of these minerals so that we can, block that chain. So now the state government was engaging the miners so that we should be buying the golds from them. He's very happy with the system that we initiated.
We were talking about, the governor of Zamfara being in State House and explaining to the president, apart from showing him a gold bar, explaining to the president what his findings were and ideas that they had.
Yes, exactly.
And the president was down with all of that.
Yes, then one of the ideas he introduced to the president was the idea of having a cooperative society of the local miners.
Yes. Yes.
Whereby
I'm surprised that isn't in existence already.
Yeah,
I'm very, very surprised.
Yes, and I think...
Were they just doing it one-on-one? As a miner, whatever I get, I find the next expatriate that I can sell it to. Just like that, no government control, no cooperative, no gold exchange, no nothing.
Nothing. That was why the level of insecurity was rife in Zamfara State, because anybody can just come and say, okay, this is my land, or buys a land and say, oh, yeah, start mining, because of the large deposit of gold that the state has. But with this now, a local miner can decide, they can form themselves into cooperative society, then decide to now say, we want to mine here, even government will now regulate them.
Exactly.
Because once there's proper regulation, we won't be having the issue about lead poisoning and the likes, So with this one, they will have proper, they will even have capacity building, involved in this. So that it shouldn't just be about local mining, but local mining that will have like a sort of international, that will go with a sort of international standards, and that is where the governor is going to. Apart from you making money, we can also be looking at security, securing their own business, securing the states. And the governor has really tried, because I remember some months back when the chief of army staff was in the states. So many people actually dropped their arms, because of the intervention he has been having, because of, the discussions he has been having with these bandits in order for there to be, peace in the state. And so I want to give it to him, I want to give it, he has not just come to say he's from a particular political party, but he's looking at his people, how the states can move forward. Because Zamfara was just like a war zone.
It just shows that our mining sector, at least aspects of it, are in quite a rudimentary stage. If this is the kind of thing we're talking about now, unless we're not getting a very clear picture of how it actually operates in there, because anybody can't just show up and say he's a gold miner and that kind of a thing. Government usually heavily regulates such a precious resource, mineral resource. Apart from all the inherent dangers of it, again, government stands to lose a lot. I mean, it's not like the gold prospecting back in the day of the wild, wild west that we read about, people panning for gold. Here we are in 2020. So it really boggles the mind that this is the stage we are at. But better late than never.
Exactly.
That's
so that we don't get to the point of having a Sierra Leone in our hands. Because that was how
which
it was
fueled, unrest there for so long.
Exactly, because that was how the state was, tilting towards politicians having lands and then making sure that that particular land is being mined for their own benefit, and then trying to annex another person's land, and in trying to get another person's land, that is where the conflict starts.
So never mind our caption. It's really about the reform now.
Yes, the reform.
When foreigners exchange gold for arms in Zamfara, well, that's not the situation anymore because of what the governor has taken to the presidency and that the presidency has endorsed. So it's like that is where we were before.
So we are now looking forward.
Yes,
and in looking forward,
government will now begin to buy gold.
Yes,
that is the actual story.
Yes, that is where the
main focus is.
Exactly, that is where we are heading to. Not foreigners coming to Nigeria, giving our people guns for them to get.
I think we have a call coming in from Abuja. Is it Bello, Mr. Bello? Bello in Abuja. Good morning.
Oh, Kuyori, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for calling in. Go right ahead, please.
Okoyori, yes, Tofa Bello.
Okay. Thank you.
Okoyori, good morning, sir.
Good morning,
I
sir.
called to hint about this issue of the gold in Zamfara. You see, this is to tell you actually that the previous government knew what exactly was going on. Can you hear me, sir?
We can hear you loud and clear.
That is to tell you that the previous government knew exactly what was happening in that region when people were being killed, the banditry was going on, the insecurity was at a peak. You know? So this man has come. Look at the goal he brought to the government. So this is to say that previous government has exchanging this goal with something else, Uncle Yori. So now it's not all about the party; it's all about the safety and the development of a region and development of a state. It's no longer about PDP or APC. No, this man is putting his people first.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what a leader should do.
Thank you.
Irrespective of his party differences. So the question is, what happens to the gold that the previous government has been mining all this while?
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Bello. So, this reform, it's like a reform, if not of the entire, thing, at least that aspect of how gold is commodified has been changed now. So that is the story, not so much more. I mean, it's like what we were leading with before, unfortunately, was the problem. That was the problem. But the fact that Governor Matawale was in the State House with the president.
And with bars of gold.
And with bars of gold, say, look, Oga, we are solving this problem. This is the way it was before, as Mr. Bello was saying. Apparently, it's been known. It's been known that this is the state of affairs. Did I hear?
Because if you look at it, this is the
Mazi Okorafor wants to weigh in on the gold issue. Good morning, Mazi Okorafor. Now Governor Matawale says they have reformed.
Good morning, Mr. Azuko.
He said they have reformed how they shall be exchanging gold now. No more gold for guns.
Mr. Yori, let me tell you one thing, which Nigeria don't understand what is happening. You see, mining is everywhere. It depends on the natural resources they have in a particular location in Nigeria. Look, the federal government or the state government should use Tanzania formula. What the government there does that when you bring these things like gold from their place, they buy from the people, from the villagers. That is what the government should be doing.
That is what Matawale has told the president they will now be doing.
No, they should, when you talk about they are doing it now, they should tell people to bring it to the government house that they will pay them. Not to come and create one ministry or create one special assistant. Special assistant will turn it into business. So that is going to. I said, Mr. Are you not hearing what I said? In Tanzania, the people take it to the state house, not give it to special state. The state house, take it to the governor of the state.
Oh, okay.
That is the only way.
Cut out the middleman entirely.
That was number one. Number two, there is a very, very bad product of raw material in Zamfara, lead poison. Lead poison is there, and the people go there to drink that water. The governor should also find a solution to that.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mazi.
Carrying gold to that rock. He has a major issue in the state. Indeed. He has to solve it now.
Sure.
Because people go there to extract this thing in terms of raw material, and they go there to drink the water, and it's killing them. At the end of the day, they start having all these fungal disease, lungs, cancer, and the rest in that Zamfara state.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Mazi. Really appreciate your calling in. Thank you very much. I mean, the lead poisoning as a byproduct of gold mining, it's well known. And Mazi was even saying fungal waiting call. They will be lucky if they get fungal waiting. Lead poisoning, you're going to be dead and die. So it's a very, very important matter. All of these were brought up. So as I was saying, I didn't want to go jump the gun too far and talk about reform. Maybe one has to be very, very careful how one uses those kind of words. But at least this aspect now where government will be buying the gold from the miners. Mazi is pointing out that it's a Tanzanian model. Well, yes. Thank you, Mazi. you know, for bringing that up. And I
because
think
for what Matawale told the president was,
yes,
okay, we want the state government to patronize, we want the federal government, and even the CBN. Because
I'm
if
surprised
they
that we're talking,
patronize,
you know, it's good that these news stories come out because, quite frankly, personally, maybe I don't know too much. My mind is boggled that we're still talking about these rudimentary ABC blocks that they don't have an exchange, or maybe exchange is not the right word. They don't have a place where you take the gold to, you know, some sort of a cooperative that you were talking about. It's quite surprising.
Okay, Reverend Dominic is on the line.
Oh, Reverend Dominic, good morning. Morning, Reverend Dominic.
Hello, good morning, Yori.
Thank you for calling in, Reverend.
Please, can you hear me? Because the network on my outside is bad.
Well, it's good. We can hear you here, thank God.
Can I go on?
Yes, please, go on.
Okay, Yori, last time I have said this before. We can stop the banditry and the Boko Haram in Northeast in one day. How? Solution. If the political elite of the North, if the business elite of the North, if the traditional elite of the North, religion is not part of it, can come together and agree on one thing. What the government is saying now, the Boko Haram, the banditry will stop yesterday, not today. Because there's a commercial side of it, which government is talking about. This gold is main issue and main problem that caused the banditry. That is, by the way, and who is buying it? The same people I mentioned now, without giving somebody insult. If they come together and say that enough is enough, then the people who buy and sell will stop. Number two, let me agree with the Mazi from the Umuahia. The only way to cut off the cut off middleman is to put it, 1 pound is 1 naira, 2 pounds is 3 naira, 3 pounds is 4 naira. So when you are coming to say to anybody, to government house, whether it's a middle or the governor, you know, I have 1 pound, it's 1 naira. I have 2 pounds weight of gold, it's 2 naira. But when you bring a middleman, they will still bring the abuse that made these people to sell it to man who will give them God and all the rest of it.
Indeed.
So the answer to this is that the political elite, the business elite of the North must come together and say enough is enough.
All
so
right,
the one who sponsor will go back.
Okay.
The one who protect will withdraw. The one who knew what happened and did not say it will now say no and will stop banditry and Boko Haram. It's doable in this way.
Indeed.
The gun will not solve it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Reverend, for calling in. You know, even at the risk of sounding like a government spokesman, which we certainly are not, somebody pointed out that the previous administrations, they knew what was going on. So there's a sense in which you can say that there's something about the drive, the insistence to, as it were, confront this situation and do the right thing. I think the whole problem is that whole thing about the conspiracy of silence, which Mazi and Dominic have been pointing out, that, look, get as transparent as we need to be. Take out all the nooks and crannies that will allow a middleman to survive. Let people know, whatever the mechanism is, whether you're coming from the gold mine.
Even farming, you know, if as a farmer, I want to get fertilizer, I shouldn't go through a middleman. I should be able to say, okay, oh, there's like maybe a particular place that I will go and buy my fertilizer.
So government itself looks to be in a position to take out all these unnecessary middlemen, rent seekers, people who are not doing anything, not adding to the value chain, just leeching off the people who are really doing the work. I don't know, it does appear as if this Buhari administration is moving in that direction, at least from where we are sitting here.
You know, the thing is, we should be moving towards where people will be able to say, I am working and I'm also making money from my sweat.
Okay, Bernard has come on the line. Good morning, Bernard.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Okay. In relation to the topic on ground about the illegal mining going on in Zamfara State.
And the method of addressing it.
And the method of addressing it. The question I want to ask is this mineral deposit that is being illegally mined not part of the mineral deposit in Nigeria that is in exclusive list under the control of the federal government? Can't the federal government license individuals or registered companies to take care of mining, official mining of these deposits, these mineral deposits. This is hypocritical. If Nigeria is known to have over 250 viable, commercially based mineral deposits, and we rely only on oil, we can see the impact of monolithic economy that Nigeria has been running for these years. COVID-19 has exposed us to a lot of danger, even economic collapse. Now, but from you listen to this, what the governor presented to the federal government is an exposure that there has been connivance among state actors and some unknown faces.
Indeed.
Mining the resources of the federal government that are supposed to be bringing money into the collective coffers. Nigeria would do it so badly as it is today economically. If the federal government has been very resolute and upright in implementing this policy.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Bernard. Appreciate your calling in. We've now been joined by because there is a security aspect to all of this, especially as we're talking about the guns, but there's also money. Money involved, which is an asset, and the gold itself, the securing of it is an asset. We've been joined by Tony Ofoyeton, DG International Institute of Professional Security. Good morning, Tony. As always, thank you very much for making time for us. Oh, no, we're not going to start this again. Tony, can you hear us? Okay. Well, I know you can, well, I'm hoping you can hear us.
Maybe he has to unmute. See, I think he's using
maybe, I hope your phone isn't muted, or maybe you need some earbuds, or if not a headphone.
Okay.
I can hear you clear and loud. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Okay, Tony, we can hear you now.
I can hear you clear and loud.
Whatever you did is fine. We can hear you now. So thank you very much for coming on, Tony. Now, what...
Good morning, Uncle Yari.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much. I'm in studio alongside Asukwa James. Now, this whole thing, the security aspect to it, we've been talking about that and how they are mopping up. The governor has taken a proposal to the president, or no, put it differently. He has presented his findings to the president and indeed has made proposals, and the president is on all fours with it, apparently. Talk to me about that. Somebody just pointed out, Bernard just pointed out that it's on the exclusive list, isn't it? How come we are able to do these kind of things in Nigeria? It looks like there's no place sacrosanct and people are getting anywhere.
Well, I think let me start by saying that what is in Zamfara is actually not very new. If you look back, you'll remember that what was happening in Niger Delta is a similitude of what we are seeing replaying now. At the time, the Niger was highly militarized, basically because what happened at that point in time was that foreigners would come with arms and a little dollars, and will exchange it for oil, crude oil, illegally bunkered crude oil. Now, because also there are internal connivance, it thrived until the government stood its ground against such. And today, I'm sure that you can see the relative peace that we have in the Niger Delta region. I have also mentioned this before now that what is happening in Zamfara, if we are not careful, is going to be a similitude of what we are seeing in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where you have the highest deposit of mineral resources, yet the nation is one of the poorest nations in the world. Why? Because basically, I'm sorry to say, but the truth is that there is no foreign multinational that loves you the way you think. And they are also, while they preach corruption in their country, while they stand against corruption in their country, but they also entice and corrupt greedy people in African continent to be able to illegally exploit their natural resources take it back to their country, refine, bring it back to Africa as end product. Where we are not going to be banning 10 times much more. Now you see that thank God that it was even the governor that said so. Because if some of us as security analysts have said so, it would have been, how did you get it? What evidence do you have? Do you have evidence and all those? But there are things that have been ongoing, not just in Zamfara. Kaduna State is also involved in this whole thing. It's not just, and Oyo State is also not exempted from what we are talking about. Sure. So it is whether the government is sincerely interested in truly monitoring its solid mineral resources as it is now. Nigeria has over 20 solid mineral resources at commercial quantity. More than 20 solid mineral resources at commercial quantity. But either because we don't have people that are genuine at really harnessing all these resources, Nigeria is suffering the type of poverty it ought not to suffer. It's when you are testing in the midst of an ocean. That is what is happening now. Now, there's always the application of force when it comes to the exploitation of any resources, especially when a resource is such that it is scarce or domiciled in specific areas where those that have the technological expertise would not really have access to. So now talk about things like gold, like diamond, like silks, and the weight of high deposits in places like Zamfara. So what happened at the end of the day is you have some people, you have militias to be able to cause crisis, and unfortunately, even those that are mining it are being killed.
Yeah.
You mine, some people will come with helicopter. They will take those things away. You don't know where they take them to. But incidentally, this thing we are talking about is not done by pedestrians. It's not done by artisans that are, it's done at a very high level, top level, including, top government, military, politics, and the like are involved in this whole thing. So it is not, it's left for government to be sincere. And when I say sincere, I mean sincere.
Okay.
Not trying to beat around the bush about what is happening. If not so, what will happen at the end of the day is that you will have the group will be more and more sophisticatedly armed to be able to cause insurrection. The more disorganized Zamfara is, the more chaotic Zamfara is, the better for the foreign exploiter. And that is what is happening now.
So are you saying... Are you saying with this effort made by the governor, peace will not return as quickly as possible as we are thinking?
I am not saying that type of peace, and I will explain why. You see, there are military officers that the government should really investigate. There are security agencies that the government should investigate. Let me tell you something you must understand. When it comes to the exploitation of solid mineral resources, it just doesn't fly like that. It will have to go through a lot of processes, and once it's refined and brought out. Now, there are government security agencies that are aware. Now, that is where the government should first of all start at those that are backing these foreign nationals, those that are giving them that security cover to be able to move the raw material from that place of exploitation to the place of exit out of the country. It's a very fundamental route. The route is very, very important. If the government did not deal with the route and talking about legislation is as good as nothing. In as much as there's already a legislation on ground, this is something that is under the exclusive list of the Constitution. It is an exclusive reserve of the federal government.
Yeah.
Mineral resources, solid mineral resources are under the exclusive list. And once they're under it's not even a local legislation that can attend to it.
Okay.
But who are those that are backing these foreign nationals? Who are those that are funding? Who did they give money to be able to give them? Who are those that are mining? The government needs to do a thorough sweep there. So what will happen will just be a very serious bloodbath. Anything that has high volume in terms of money, the foreign nationals will be interested. And when I say interested, I mean interested. It involves a lot of foreign politics and a lot of foreign, even terrorism you are talking about all over the world. Terrorism also has its own nexus, even to natural resources. If you look at the history of terrorism,
okay,
there are countries
Tony,
that face terrorism basically because of their wealth.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Yes,
really appreciate your, making time for us. We actually wanted to have you a bit earlier, but the technical bugs and all of that, or gremlins, shall I say? So thank you very much, Tony Ofoyet, DG International Institute of Professional Security. We're going to have to, spend some more time on this whole gold matter because there are aspects to it. We're talking about lead poisoning because it's one of the byproducts of, the whole processing, mining of gold. That's on one level. That's where these miners go in there, go into a hole in the ground or go into a mine, and then there's a vein and they're working on it, and that's heavy duty, high capital. But there are also those who pan for gold, and so we need to find out a bit more about this. And clearly, you saw the bars that were being presented to the president. Smelting is another operation.
Exactly.
They get it one, and then smelting is two. So there are all these technical aspects.
No, the thing is, mining is not easy. It's just like going to Niger Delta, trying to get crude oil, trying to refine and all. The process that goes into it is not cheap and easy.
Indeed. Okay, so let's let go of this subject for now. We'll return to it later, I'm sure. We can talk with the producers and see if we can bring more enlightenment to the subject matter. We'll take a break now. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay, the NBA 2020 conference, annual general conference. It's a 5-day affair, and the president sent a message. In this 5-day affair, what usually happens is they bring all sorts of intellectuals, legal luminaries, people. In fact, in the build-up to it, we heard about some people being disinvited. But the president sent a message to them. Apart from it being goodwill, he also made quite a number of points, and used himself. The vice president, of course, was speaking, on the...
A lawyer, too.
And a professor, a law teacher.
Yes.
It's not surprising, was the lead man in this. Now, I think it's best to just play the package that we have on this that has already gone out, and it summarizes, very much the president's presentation.
President Muhammadu Buhari referred to his experiences at the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunals over the past 4 elections. He stated that it took him 2.5 years from 2003 to challenge the election in the now famous case of Buhari versus Obasanjo. Again in 2007, he was in court for 20 months. And in 2011, he spent another 8 months in court. At the end, he lost all 3 cases. His status later improved in 2019, where he became first respondent in the case of Atiku and Buhari, spending about 6 months in court.
Why can't we have time limits for all cases? Why can't we put in place the rules that will say that a criminal trial, all the way to the Supreme Court, must not exceed 12 months in duration? And why can't we do the same for civil cases? Even if we say that civil cases must not go beyond 15 months, between 12 and 15 months. I think that for me will be stepping forward. The question of speed raises a related concern. In the context of a competitive global economy, the speed of our legal institutions and processes must match up with the global pace of transactions.
The president also seeks reforms over the multiple and sometimes conflicting orders of courts, saying his party, the APC's recent internal crisis led to at least 10 conflicting rulings of courts across the country. There is also the need to fully adopt technology in the judiciary, while the NBA was urged to show real leadership in the nation's affairs.
You are older than Nigeria, you are a big brother to Nigeria in terms of age. You are celebrating your 60th before Nigeria. So you need to show Nigeria real leadership. You need to show Nigeria that indeed you're a big brother. You need to show and take over and take your rightful position in the Committee of Nations and drive this country very well. I keep saying to a lot of people that when you want to do good business, get a good lawyer.
The event was originally slated to be hosted in Rivers State, but had to be modified to hold virtually in compliance with the COVID-19 safety protocols.
Having an association is perhaps easy, but keeping it alive and united for 60 years, that could be challenging, and that is something that we should celebrate.
At least 100,000 Nigerians are lawyers. They were urged to use their numbers to influence nation building. Kemi Fola Adeyemo, TVC News, Lagos.
Okay, some highlights there of the 2020 annual conference of the MBA. And we have with us Chief Dr. Fasi Yusuf, a communications consultant. So Fasi, okay, excellent. Fasi, you know, I just want to, we don't have all the time we'd like, so I want to pick up on one of the points that the president made, using himself as an example. What do you think of his idea, his notion, as presented by the vice president there, that why can't we have these whole judicial processes having a time limit? It doesn't matter what the subject matter is. If it's criminal, so long. If it's civil, so long. Defined. Not this one where cases are lasting for 10, 20 years in some cases. What do you think of that whole notion?
Nice being with you. Let me say that you've forgotten that I'm a lawyer. You didn't say that much about me.
Okay,
I haven't said that.
Didn't I say it? I thought, okay, sorry, I took it for granted. Yes, indeed, you are a lawyer. The very reason we're talking with you.
Yes. Honestly, legal practice in Nigeria, justice dispensation in Nigeria, honestly, we have to have a surgical operation to ensure that we align ourselves with the dictates of modern times. It is embarrassing. It is something that has caused this country a lot of fortunes, that justice is delayed. And as we say, justice delayed is justice denied. And when it takes you 10 years, 20 years to see the end of a case, then you lose faith in that process. Therefore, it is in the interest of the nation, and indeed the executive, the legislature, the judicature, and the people, that we must reform our justice administration. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to take our pride of place in the Committee of Nations.
Yeah, but Fasi, the point I wanted you to address, please, if you could, I don't know if you could possibly move slightly to the left, to your left, slightly, ever so slightly. I don't know. That might be helpful. Now, the point I wanted you to address is, the point I wanted you to address is what to the layman would seem straightforward. Why will a case take more than 12 months or 15 months, for example, depending on what is agreed?
Because, number one, the machinery of justice is very slow, it's archaic.
And this is the whole problem.
Yes, it does not conform with modern times, and therefore we must look into that process. Why must we? And I think the judiciary has been trying to bring about some other reforms like arbitration, conciliation, and others. But the real thing is we lawyers bringing in all sort of legal gymnastics, technicalities to delay the will of progress and the will of justice. And we must talk to ourselves, and I believe, and I like to believe, that the current conference will give us an opportunity to address the situation.
Yeah.
In any case, the president has spoken, he has challenged us, and I hope that the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association and the leadership of the judiciary will find a common ground to see that we have a commonality of purpose, and that we, as a nation, we are in a position to have faith in the judicial system by removing all the impediments to quick dispensation of justice.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Again, we have to speak from this side as what you lawyers would refer to as laymen. But you did say, helpfully, that the whole profession is archaic. I mean, it even wears a wig, for God's sake. But, you know, leave that out of it. You know, leave that out of it. It is even said around the world that the wheels of justice grind slowly and all of that. But the Chief Justice has said, you know, also I think in preliminary comments that they're going to be doing all that they can to sort of modernize it a bit. The system has gotten so used to the fact that it can adjourn as much as it wants, and so I imagine it's all about making assurance doubly sure that justice is done, and no matter what the length or extent is, the court system will go to all those lengths in order to ensure that the judge or the court hears every last bit of detail before pronouncing and making a decision. I imagine it's going to be something like that. But look, yes, sir.
The fundamental thing we need to address is the overcrowding of our courts. You can imagine, especially in Lagos and Abuja, some courts have 40, 50 cases listed in a day. I mean, reading through the list alone is cumbersome, not to talk of really dealing with those issues. When some cases I just mentioned, they are adjourned because there's no way you can have a judge handling 40, 50 cases in a day. So that is one issue we should address.
Okay.
And again,
so what are you saying, Fassi? Do we need more courts, more judges, more lawyers? Because the report was just telling us that about 100,000 Nigerians are lawyers.
Funding, we need more judicial officers. We also need a new process that will allow the judicial officers to perform effectively and efficiently through modernization of the process. You can imagine writing with a long hands and all the rest. I expect
we hear that still goes on in some places in Nigeria, where judges are writing longhand.
At times to 4 p.m. So I think we need to address all these issues and look at how do we fund the judiciary?
Well, okay. I guess
when we fund the judiciary, how do we ensure that justice is available to the common man?
Well, exactly. When you said it, it just is an archaic profession.
Are you with me?
And
yes.
Yes, we can hear you. It's archaic.
Hello?
It's an archaic profession. Perhaps there still are. I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't still some jurisdictions or some areas where judges are still, you know, writing longhand. I don't know. There must be a way that all of this, you know, these are probably issues to be considered from the point of view of the ordinary man on the street.
Yes, and again, we need to be futuristic. You see, we have crisis management approach to issues in this country. Can we really sit down together and decide in another 20 years or 30 years where do we want the judiciary to be, and how do have the nitty-gritty to meet those expectations?
Okay.
Well, these are some of the issues we should look at.
We
need strategic management in the judiciary.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much, Chief Dr. Fassi, who is a lawyer as well as a communication consultant and a teacher, for that matter. Thank you very much, Fassi, for coming on. It's a 5-day affair. I think this is just day 2 or so. So there are plenty more papers and ideas to be heard.
But the president has set the pace.
He has.
You know, because
now he's challenged the whole place.
Yes, of course, because he also said something about having special court for speedy administration of justice.
Yeah.
You know. So cases do not go for years and years. And sometimes you hear about land case that should just take 6 months. You hear a land case of 100 years, you know, and all that. You know.
I don't know.
So it's something that they need to sit down. And with this COVID, it shows that the judiciary will also have to look at having to reform to see how they can even bring virtual sittings.
I think the Chief Justice pointed out that was part of the way in which the judiciary was moving with the times, such that there now are, you know, virtual, you know, court appearances now. Well, I'm afraid we've run out of time again. It always happens. Thank you very much for being with us, and please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. Azuko James and I, as always, we say do your best, please, to stay safe.
Yes.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.